But good evening, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for Nature's Best Hope book discussion. My name is Brianna, and I'm the Conservation Program Coordinator here at Sierra Club Iowa chapter. I will be here moderating this evening, so I might pop in and you'll hear me in the background. But before we begin, I did want to let everybody know that this is being recorded, so if you miss anything or want to reference anything, we will post it to our YouTube, and I'll link it into kind of the email with resources that comes out after. And then if anybody that wasn't able to be here tonight can also check it out. Um, and then Also, your mics are muted, but if you want to hop into the discussion or have any questions along the way, please feel free to unmute or raise your hand. There's a little toggle at the bottom there, or otherwise feel free to comment in the chat box letting us know that you have a question or want to speak up, and we'll be sure to get you unmuted. So yeah, and what else am I missing? Any other little housekeeping? Otherwise, tonight our book discussion is going to be focused on Nature's Best Hope by Doug Tallamy, and it kind of calls for a new approach to conservation, one that starts in all of our backyards. And so I'm super excited to dig into this topic and hear what you guys are all doing, maybe what you've learned from this book along the way. And our host and leader tonight will be Tom Reardon. He is the chair of the Iowa chapter's executive committee and a seasoned conservationist with so much knowledge. So I'm very excited to get into his questions and pick his brain. And then one last little housekeeping before we get started. This is a space for everyone, open and welcoming, so please be respectful of others' perspectives and views. And with that, I will hand it on over to you, Tom, to get us started.
Hey, thank you. I don't think you overrated me here with so much. I think you've overrated me here with so much knowledge. So I'm going to try and keep quiet and let the discussion proceed as anybody on the call wants to. But first thing, I've done a little bit of this. And to start off, I've done a little bit of this in my own backyard for probably about the past 10 years. When we originally bought the house, we had a number of large trees that had to be taken out. Uh, over time. And so I've got about 2,200 square feet of what will be lawn area that I've got right now about 50% covered in native wildflowers. And I'll probably be able to expand that to about 70 or 75% of the yard, plus another 300 square feet or so that used to be planters, and that's all gone to native stuff. I've noticed over time as I've been doing that, there's been an increase in pollinators. Fireflies that I would see maybe occasionally one species have now I've got at least three and possibly four species of fireflies. So doing this stuff actually does work, at least in my own experience. It's worked fairly well. But the big question is, as I go to jump to the end of the book, is this going to work in an agricultural state where you've got 85% of the land in ag, 6% in urban, and possibly a hard sell for people in urban and suburban areas uh, to change their yards, particularly with homeowners associations? So, any discussions, questions? Well, not questions. Speak up. Experiences with this. Yeah, Val.
Um, I'm so impressed, Tom, with everything you've done. It seems absurd, but I mean, I've been gardening in my garden in my our yard for 30 years, and what I put in are like hostas and peonies and uh, um, heuchera and tulips. Like it seems ridiculous, but I never thought I should put natives there. I do know that I really wanted to have goldenrod in my yard for many years, but I had no idea how to get it. You go to a garden shop and you're not going to see many natives. I mean, I have at different times, oh, I was able to get some native grasses and I tried but it's just, it's a total different mindset that I realized I didn't have at all. I couldn't believe how I could be so blind to that. But that's what my gardening. I have a lot of my yard is garden, but there aren't natives there.
Yeah, I started out using mostly ornamentals until I started reading about this. And basically, I just started doing it because I wanted something to do some macro photography with. And then as I read more and more, I did that. I gave Brianna a list of places you can get native seeds and native plants. She'll be posting that and sending that out later. But I've grown everything from seed. I haven't really done much with plants, and I've been using Seed Savers Exchange.
Really? They have a lot of natives, huh? Wow.
Yeah, they have wildflower mixes for different areas, and
Uh-huh.
they have they will list the seeds by state where it comes from. So when I say the Midwest, it's Iowa. Some are Iowa, some are from Indianapolis and Illinois, surrounding areas in the Great Plains
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
that one company. I don't know of any others. Like I said, I gave Brianna a list, but I haven't checked them all out. I just stole them from other people.
And the other thing I just want to say, I realized I mean, I generally do leave my leaves down, but I didn't think about how all that, what the insects need that in terms of, pupating or, and all these. So I learned a lot by reading and realizing I was totally blind or unaware of different approaches to gardening that could, I mean, and how incredible how many caterpillars each of those baby birds have to eat.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like, I don't know how the parents do it.
Nobody told me that in ornithology so many decades ago was to how much food the chicks needed. I spent a lot of time analyzing what they ate, but not how much. Anybody else? Comments?
I was wondering, Tom, this is Linda, and I was wondering with your seed saver seeds, I know there was a question towards the end in the questions at the end of the book about cultivars, like if it's a native, but cultivars have been developed off of it. How are you? It's better to get the true native, and I don't know if there's any delineation for that with through seed savers or not.
No, there isn't through them. They'll just tell you what state they got the seeds from.
Okay. Yeah, it could be hard to get some of those maybe. I don't know.
It could be. I think it's almost around here. It might even be pretty much impossible because there's so few remnant areas left. You probably have to sneak out in the dark of night to some places and steal their seeds. But
Yeah.
but
And
that's
I just go ahead, sorry.
go.
Well, I was just going to add that I was also the part about the caterpillars was a real aha for me as well. That was just something I had it never dawned on me how much, how much they needed all those caterpillars for their babies. It was amazing. Oh, I see Lori is saying she has no audio. I don't know what.
I don't know, Brianna. Do you know how to?
I was gonna say I might try and work with her in the background. And I'll let you guys keep going with the discussion.
I think Claudia had her hand up.
Yeah, I'll chime in. Hello, everyone. I'm Claudia. I'm in Davenport. I've lived in this home about 15 years. Um, and over those 15 years, like you were saying, I had some hostas here and heuchera and so forth, but I also had a background in herbs and native plants from the Clinton,
Oh.
Clinton Arboretum where I used to volunteer.
Ooh.
And so when I first got to this house, I had, through one of those grants, I had a rain garden installed and designed by a local man with all natives. And I would say once I retired, it really took off because I was able to give it the time and attention that it needed. But it's magnificent to me. And to me, it's in the
Wow.
front yard because it's a point of conversation. Not that I spend that much time in the front, but I have other natives that, just expanding little by little by little. But my backyard and what I want to share is not necessarily in Doug's book, um, but I'm always putting in a word for native herbs. And my pollinators are on my native plants, yes, but they are all over my herbs. And these are not cultivars. These would be the common sage, St. John's wort, rosemary, lemon balm, to name a few. Thyme, oh my gosh, they love the thyme. Tulsi. So we are not looking at just natives, although I can make tea out of um, a lot of the natives. Um, I'm just putting that word out for the herbs because as you were saying, Tom, I have a tremendous amount of pollinators and fireflies or lightning bugs, depending on what part of the country you're from. I call them lightning bugs. But anyway, and and then I also want to thank somebody, I'm not sure who spoke, but I'm ever ever hopeful that others can break away as you described, can Val, of saying there is more than just hostas. There is more than just what it quote unquote looks like. That we are comrades in arms with other worlds, invertebrates and birds and small mammals and so on. And I find sometimes it's a little lonesome not having other people to talk to who really understand and embrace those notions. Um, but I have hope. And I'll say one last thing. I am reading a book called From What Is to What If. And pulling from what you said, Tom, can we imagine a state like Iowa embracing? And yes, I can because I have to, I just
Ah,
can't not. Um, and um, so I encourage all of you, and I'm grateful for all of you. Um, and love Doug Tallamy and listen to him. Robin Wall Kimmerer, if you ever talked, listen to her talks. She also has a new group called Plant Baby Plant, and that is meeting on Zoom on the equinox and the solstice. Um, they've just met, but you can look them up on YouTube. So plant, baby plant, um, like-minded folks and good-hearted folks, and they would be delighted to share the love. Thanks, everybody.
thank you.
And I will say we had a question and comment in the chat that really goes off of that. Jerry said, I too have begun planting native wildflowers and bushes. Some neighbors have raised their eyebrows about the wildflower flowers, but after giving each a print of some macro work, they were grateful and happy to see what will come up this year, bees, butterflies, and a variety of songbirds. So,
Oh, cool. Uh, I don't know. I'm not really a botanist, so I don't really know any plants offhand that will grow under understory in oak trees, but I know there must be some. I wish Tom Rosberg was on. And I think yeah.
Um, I was looking this up when I started to talk. There's a man named Rob Liva, Liva. And let's see if I can pull this up again. I buy not seeds, but starts from him. It's called Perennial Crops Nursery.
Uh-huh.
He's in Rock Island and just the most wonderful guy in the world. And it says here he is an ecological restoration practitioner, which is many syllables speak for a plant guy extraordinaire. Anyway, that's another possible source.
Oh, great, thanks.
Actually, I wanted to ask Claudia when she said someone helped her plant a rain garden, and I was wondering if that person designed it and planted it
Yes,
for you, and
yes.
that was.
Well, unfortunately, it's through Aunt Rhodey's uh, nursery and here in Davenport. His name is Alec Schroeg, but unfortunately, he no longer works for Aunt Rhodey's. He is in another he's doing other work. Um, but I will mention to him because I send him pictures of my garden. It's underneath shade, so it spring is its time. And
Oh,
he designed that, and everything is spreading beautifully or has spread beautifully. And there's very little space for weeds anymore. But yes, it was designed. It was designed and installed. I don't have those skills, although I've got a little swale that just was put in the back, and I'm thinking maybe I can do something with that swale. And so um, I'll let you know.
thank you.
Schrog, Schrog, Alec. I'd
Okay.
love to tempt him back into the world of design.
So Tom, I'm piggybacking also off of what Claudia said with the rain garden idea. I don't know if how prevalent this is, but in central Iowa where I live, there's an effort. It's called the raincampaign.org,
Oh,
and you can get I got a homeowner's grant last summer to put in native plantings because the idea is to prevent more stormwater runoff and to have, our soil absorbing the rain. And of course, native plants are good at that. So my city, I had to go on the website, and every town has a little different amount they will give. But my city, which is Johnston, which is a suburb of Des Moines, was $1,250 for native plants.
huh.
And you had to also you had to match it. And of course,
Yeah.
I didn't need that much money in plants, but I also had this company which is called Blooming Prairie out of Carlisle, Iowa. I'm not sure if they're on your list, Tom,
Yeah,
but
I think they are.
they also did soil quality restoration for me, which involved aeration of my lawn and composting on my lawn. But after reading this book, it's like, well, I need to shrink the lawn more. So I felt good about what I did last summer, and I'm anxious to see these native plants come up. I'm trying to slowly, like Claudia, I'm trying to slowly add a little bit more every year and not make it too hard to manage. But reading a book like this really gets one's mind rolling about what else might be possible.
Yeah, I've been doing it in small increments, and now one of the problems I have is trying to convince my neighbor that goldenrod doesn't cause allergies. And I imagine that would be a fairly common problem.
Tom, Tom, this is
Yeah.
Claudia.
Uh,
It is ragweed that causes that problem, not
yeah. Yeah.
goldenrod. And as an herbalist,
Right.
um, beginning herbalist, that's one of the lessons that I learned recently. It's ragweed.
Yeah. Yeah. In general, the big showy pollens are pollinator transferred. Goldenrod's too big and too sticky.
Ah,
But,
that's a good
you know,
point. Yeah.
trees, grass, ragweed are the airborne pollens. Um, okay.
I just gonna say I was really happy to read that oaks are terrific
Oh,
for for all kinds for insects and birds and everything because we do have an oak tree in our backyard. I had I looked it up. I had my fingers crossed that a pin oak was native, and it said it was. So I thought, oh, that's good.
oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, but it was interesting. I forget who was asking about, needing a what to put in the shade of a whole bunch of oaks. I mean, I actually right now I have hostas, so I gotta change that. But
Well, he also mentions in the book that non-native plants aren't necessarily all that bad. You want to do some of your yard that you like the beauty of. So, it's not exclusively natives, uh, I guess. At least in Doug Tallamy's opinion. I might be crossing crossing a line here. But I don't think so. I mean, when I started out, I tried to grow roses, and that was good for the deer. They would generally eat them, but anyhow, yeah, I'm in the middle of the city, and there's a creek several hundred feet away from me where there's even some farmyard down there, small branches, and they will come up across a busy street, go through my yard, and head on up into a woods. So
I also wanted to add, I think I was typing at the time, but sedges are a great option for kind of shady areas.
oh, yeah, well, Western Iowa used to be pretty much oak savanna, so there are certainly some plants that will grow under some natives that should be growing under oaks.
Yeah. And to play off of the sedge, I have sedge in my shady rain garden in the front. And at first I'm thinking I'm cleaning it up, and I'm pulling these baby sedges out until Rob Leva, the man I was talking about, said just replant them elsewhere. And I thought, oh gosh, of course. And they transplant easily and take off. So yeah, I love a sedge. And there are some beautiful native sedges, I think, I believe. So
I just wish we could get nurseries to stock more natives, to make them more available. I don't know how we do that, but yeah, I mean our whole system is, or there is very little in our system to encourage native planting, and it could be made a lot easier if those were what you when you went to the nursery in the spring, that's what you saw.
yeah. There's another one, you guys, outside of Mount Vernon, Iowa, which
Oh,
is outside of Iowa City,
uh-huh.
um, called Rhubarb Botanicals.
Oh,
And
okay.
if you look that up, they've got uh, their new plant list out, and they have a lot. And
Thank
it's
you.
a lovely young couple.
Oh,
And because the thing about those plant stores is um, they don't use good practices in growing those shoots. They over fertilize, they over this, they over that. Um, and so, yeah, that's why I was so excited when I found Rhubarb Botanicals because
oh,
um, I want to support Iowans who are doing these good things.
yes.
And
Uh-huh.
I will, if I go to a nursery, a standard nursery, which I don't um, really, but if I do, I will let them know that I buy my plants elsewhere with a smile on my face and explaining I understand you're not in control, but I let them know that I'm not interested in purchasing those plants that are basically factory produced very often. Not always, but very often.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rhubarb Botanicals, just check out their plant list. It's amazing.
Thank you. I live in Grinnell, so it's not that far.
Oh, perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect.
I think, yeah, over here in Council Bluffs, we have, I think, one local nursery. I don't know too much on the Omaha side. Brianna might know. Brianna would know that. That do their own plants, and they've just started to do more on native plants. They've finally started growing some milkweed and
Mm.
something like that. I managed to get some milkweed from them last year. Shabandis, if you're familiar with it, Brianna.
I've
Okay.
not been there, but I will definitely have to check it out.
Okay.
And kind of adding on to that, like when you do stop at a plant store or nursery and you don't see any natives, just like mention it to them, be like, hey, like I would
Mm-hmm.
love to see more natives. Just speak up and let them know so that they know that the customers are interested in that. So then hopefully they do start changing their practices and introducing those natives to their kind of product line. But yeah, again, going back to support local wherever you can and yeah. And Shelly just put an awesome list
Oh,
of plants um, into the chat. So check that
Great.
out as well.
Yeah, thank you.
oh, I've got a lot of wild ginger, so I guess that's good. It really spreads so easily and fast. I guess like even places I didn't even, plant it. It's just so I'm happy to hear that that is on that list.
Uh, any other comments, questions?
Hey, I have a question for the group. In the book, in several places, Doug Tallamy mentions, I think it's a World Wildlife Federation plant finder. I need to find that in the book again and write that down. I didn't do it. But does anyone else recall seeing that in the
Oh
book a
yeah,
couple of
yeah, no, I
times?
did. And I went to the website, yeah. And
Yep.
they had a
And
lot of plants available. Yeah.
was it user friendly
It
for
seemed like
Iowa?
it. It seemed like it. Like you just go to it and then if you wanted, you could order things, you know. Um,
Oh, okay.
but I did look it up. Uh-huh.
Okay.
It looked like a good source. But I
All
want to
right.
try this rhubarb botanicals first. It sounds like a great resource.
Yeah, good to support Iowans that are doing that work.
Someone put something up about naturehills.com. Um, uh,
Nature Hills in Omaha.
is that what it is? Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes, I did. This is Jerry. I've
Oh,
ordered
okay.
from them from a number of years, and on their website, they have everything broken down by state. And so I actually ordered, I have a shady backyard because of neighbors' trees. I
Uh,
ordered some chokeberries and a couple others that I don't know. And their plants are raised outdoors in various parts of the country. So, like some of the plants I received were from Oregon, similar climate in the sense that when they're grown, they're ready, and it didn't take much. I got them. They arrive very nicely packaged as well as watered. So when they're shipped, they stay preserved. So I unboxed them, put them in a bucket, added some local soil, put some water in, a bucket of water, let them sit for a day or two to kind of acclimate. Then I dug it, put them in, and as long as you give them, they told me you just put your finger down to the first knuckle, and if it's dry, add a bucket of water and do that until they get rooted. And so now I've had them a couple of years. I just, because of this wacky weather, I've already seen little buds appear on them. And this last year, the chokeberry started producing berries, and I've only had it 2 years, 3 years, something like that. But they're very good. I've not had issues with them. And like I said, it's broken down by state. And I plugged in the search native to Iowa, and so they have a list, as well as I think the
great.
Audubon Society has a list of places. If you go to their site, it's broken down by state, and then it's also broken down by area. So Western Iowa is much different than Central or Eastern
Um,
Iowa, and there may be the same plants, but it's a different kind of species within the species because it's native to that area and whatnot.
mhm.
That sort of brings up kind of an interesting point that when you're looking for local ecotypes, uh, and of course, a local ecotype, I guess, is considered 100 miles or so, or something like that, or county limits or something like that. But that can also expand to various local ecoregions. How far away is the best thing to do? And in terms of climate change, where the climate is going to be changing, the plants are specifically adapted for that particular area may not be the best in the future. So, and I know this wasn't covered in the book, but it's just sort of a question to bring up and think about. And I know, and that leads into invasive species. Well, you want to get rid of the invasive species, but there are also other biologists who are saying that invasive species may not be all that bad. I mean, there are some that are really bad, but others are not. Beth Shapiro out of UC Santa Cruz and Chris Thomas? Yeah, Thomas in the University of York have a different take on invasive species that maybe 10 to 20% of the invasive species are really bad, but the others actually increase biodiversity, which is, again, a different take.
Mm.
So it's something to think about. Not necessarily agree with, but think about. Okay, back to the book. Is there anything else that
Well, really, I'm trying to figure out how do we uh shift the culture away from yards. I mean, that's like a major. I mean, the people on this in this discussion group are all excited about natives, but we're really, really tiny percentage. I mean, what does it take to shift the the cultural view of yards?
A lightning bolt. I was going to say, uh, it depends too on your city, how progressive people are or how reticent they are, and people not wanting to change. If some cities were able to, say, take one or two parks and put in native wildflowers or native
Mm-hmm,
plants, then people would have a place to go and see this actually happening.
mm-hmm,
And if it
mm-hmm,
started small, maybe the city would say, wow, this is pretty good. We've got all this uh, the birds and the
mm.
pollinators and whatnot showing up, maybe then they would start expanding themselves. And if that's the case, then the residents would see that's not such a bad thing because the city has tried this on a small scale. It seems to work well and it has these benefits. Or schools that are looking for a project for their kids, maybe they could
Good
find
idea.
some area to do a science project and plant native plants and track the comings and goings of pollinators and such like that.
Mm,
So then you're getting young people hopefully involved.
mm,
In South Dakota, North Sioux City, there's a Adams Homestead Nature Preserve. And I know the park manager there, and she told me recently that when she was getting interns to help her over the summer, she said it was surprising because she said, we don't do a lot of social media, but we do Facebook. And she said all the interns that were applying to work there, none of them do TikTok, none of them do Facebook, none of them do social media. They spend their time outdoors. And she said, well, you're going to have to learn. So that was kind of refreshing to hear that there are some people that don't get into that. But, you know, other than that, it's going to be, as the saying goes, a tough road to hoe, and try and get people on board with figuring out, that this is really good for us because Lord knows it doesn't look it doesn't look very doesn't look very promising down the road with various things going on with the EPA and other stuff, and people in this country for decades are so short-sighted. You want to make your profit today, not tomorrow. You don't want to do something in 10 years because you don't care. Big ag has this state pretty well wrapped up. No matter what you look at, where you read stuff, um, they're the money in people's pockets.
mm.
So unless, and corn is everywhere, soybeans too, and then you've got somebody who's decided to dry up the market for all of that. It's not helping. I'll stop there.
I'm just going to throw this out uh, to add to what you just said. This, I don't know if you can see this, if I've got my screen correct, but this
Mm,
is the book
Uh-huh.
that I mentioned, From What Is to What If, by Rob Hopkins. And he really just speaks to exactly who, I'm not sure who brought up that question, but it's like, how do we shift our brain from we're stuck with this to, ooh, what if we do this or what if we do that? Um, so I'm not going to be leading the charge. I'm afraid that's not who I am, but I will support anybody who's out there. And so that's what I try to do is just find those who are doing their best to implement what to me is a saving grace. Um, and got to start somewhere. And if it starts in your front yard, that's wonderful. And just keep talking. There's another group called Cultivating Place. It's a podcast. You can see I just have to find people somewhere. And they also speak to people all over the country who are feeling exactly like you all are and I am, and what they are doing, starting community spaces, green spaces, and just planting, getting permission to plant something out on you know, a small street in a community. Um, yeah. And so I'm always inspired by these things and try to, yeah. I'm not going to talk about what I'm trying to do, but I actually am trying to do something out there. And so maybe another time I'll have more news to report out. So anyway, this book, it's got a whole bunch of things in it that may not pertain to you. I don't think you have to read the whole thing, but it is inspiring
Mm.
to hear others talking about these same issues and how to work around it, how to inspire others to imagine possibilities and then take baby steps toward that and see where it lands. Cooperating with others. It's just really a inspirational book.
It might be slow, but it might be growing. I know Council Bluffs has designated themselves as a bee city. I'm not sure they're doing too much,
Really? A
but
bee city, huh?
bee city, yeah. And they did take one of the city parks, a small city park, and turn it into wildflower uh, areas. Put in a concrete pathway that you can walk on and little placards telling what the plants are. I think I'm not sure if I'm going to get this right, but either the Midwest Native Plant Society or the Native Plant Society, I forget the exact name, has occasionally put on uh, a 4 week, 1 hour a week lecture in the public library, and that accumulates with a little project to plant native plants, one time around the library, another around the school. So people are doing things slowly. Any other areas? Has this been going on in any other areas? That's the way I want to phrase the question. As you can tell, I'm not very good at public speaking.
Um,
I think one thing I did last year, I'm not a master gardener, but I have a couple of friends who are, and I went to their annual symposium last March, and it was in fact, gosh, I'm blanking out. Oh, Dr. Rosberg from,
oh, Tom
um,
Rosberg?
yes, Tom Rosberg from Drake was one of the speakers, and they had his topic was invasives, but there were multiple speakers there that were promoting more natural form of gardening. And one of the this was the Polk County, so Polk County Master Gardeners. So that was positive for me to see that it's being promoted. And one group that was there with a table that our Central Iowa Sierra Club is having come to speak to for a program in May is called Good Neighbor Iowa. They're out of UNI. Has anybody heard of them before? Their big thing that they are promoting is to get away from the manicured lawns that you have to use a lot of pesticides on. And so just even if people were to embrace some of that, that's a positive change. But if your Sierra Club group is looking for speakers, they might be willing to come to your area too, because I was surprised they were coming from you. They were willing to come from UNI to Des Moines to speak.
And they are
So,
called Good Neighbors, Iowa?
or it could be just Good Neighbor without a plural on neighbor,
Good Neighbor.
but Good Neighbor
That's
Iowa.
awesome.
So yes, a few rays of hope out there.
Yeah. Uh, Golden Hills RC&D also has online classes on various subjects like that. I know Tom Rosberg has taught a few, mostly on plant identification, but he also did one on try to how to tell seedlings, invasive seedlings from native seedlings, which is very hard, and I don't think I got too much out of it because I don't seem to be very good at it. But it was a good seminar to attend.
I love it. And Lori put in the chat, getting the littles in your life involved, your grandchildren, children, and the children's book of what we all read, Nature's Best Hope, was delightful and well written. Every middle school age children ought to read it. So also a good point.
Yeah, I read the first few chapters of that
Mhm.
in the library just to survey it because I was gonna planning on buying it for my granddaughter. So yeah, it's definitely
Oh, gosh, that's exciting. What was it called again?
uh it's Nature's Best Hope. It's the 2021 edition, and he wrote it for kids, and he did an
Okay.
excellent job on it.
Would you
I
say
can't
a
remember.
10-year-old, a 10-year-old-ish?
Yeah. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, perfect. Um, can I go back to your talk about bee cities?
Yeah.
Um, so is that part of the Xerces Society?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that is one of their programs.
And so that's another really great ally. Do you guys actively work with them or?
I wouldn't uh, uh, I wouldn't say actively work with them
Mhm,
uh, to a point. I mean, I do their the Bumblebee Atlas and came to Iowa.
mhm.
So I've been doing some of the Bumblebee Atlas work. That's a citizen science project for
Yes,
the Xerces Society has to go out and identify and photograph different bumblebees that are around.
that's on my to-do list. That's wonderful. Yeah.
This is just an aside, but has anyone ever tried that toilet roll? Um, um,
Oh, I know what
roll
you're not going to try it
of
this year.
I thought that was so amazing. The one thing that I realized I have to find a place that it's protected from the rain, something like that. I mean, it has to, be under. But I thought that was an amazing uh, suggestion, and I thought maybe I'd try it. But yeah, I have to find a place that I think it would be protected.
Well, grab some of your old Tupperware and make a shield out of it.
A shield, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, the bees have to have access.
right. Just put it a
Access.
little bit off the ground on some stakes or something and grab some old
Protect
Tupperware that
some.
you're not using.
But it blew my mind, seeing this toilet paper roll that was be ideal for ground native bees.
Thank you, Brianna. You put the full title of Nature's Best Hope in there. Thanks.
Oh, someone helped them adapt it, looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine writing for kids can be a very challenging job.
Or it takes special skills, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Anybody have any other comments or any other parts of the book you found interesting? Maybe it's kind of hard to get a discussion going on a book that's essentially preaching to the choir.
Well, no, but I really appreciated hearing from everyone, and and their everyone's experiences. Um, and that, he talked about that High Line in New York City, and I thought, wow, that was like a super big success. Um, I think it was New York City.
Yeah,
Um, but that just, a number of people have brought up different possibilities that I think sound fantastic, in terms of your park or schools and stuff.
and Iowa has a program with the Department of Transportation and stuff for roadside plantings if counties buy into it, and I'm not sure how many counties actually buy into it. I don't think Potawatomi County does, but
And I also just want to kind of add in, and I feel like a lot of our discussion kind of continues to lead back to this, but just keep having discussions with, those around you, those that are walking by your yard that are like, oh, like, what is that plant? Keep having those discussions, reach out to your city and be like, I would love to see this in our city. XYZ city has done it and it's been successful. So keep making your voices heard and hopefully we can see more change come to be. Oh, and Lori put in the chat about Nature's Best Hope, the children's edition, that it addresses folks who are afraid of getting stung by bees, and that there's nothing to be afraid of. It's the yellow jackets that should be avoided.
yeah, and even they deserve to live, so I don't really get rid of them unless they're in a shed where I'm going to be reaching my hands and stuff. If they're way up under the eaves, I'll just let them be.
Well, I think we can wrap it up a few minutes early. I want to say thank you so much, Tom, for kind of leading the discussion and having those questions ready for us. I really appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for joining us and chiming in with the discussion and your experiences. I really appreciate it. And you had such good information to share. And there will be an email that comes out. Hopefully, tomorrow I'll get it out with some of the information and resources that you all shared, along with some resources that Tom has kind of gathered. So keep your eye out for that. And if you have any questions moving forward, feel free to reach out. We're always happy to, if we don't know the answer, get you in contact with somebody that does. But yeah, feel free to email us or throw it in the chat last minute and we'll get to it too. But thank you so much again.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Have a
Bye.
great night.
Thank
Bye bye.
you.